Have you heard how the president of Burkina Faso, Captain IBRAHIM Traoré, embarrassed France and the West? Well, until now, the Western nations have tried portraying him as a dictator who brought a coup for power and wealth. But listen to this very carefully. Captain IBRAHIM Traoré is someone who came into power to make his country great and powerful, getting rid of France, who kept exploiting the country since the so-called independence. Shocking everyone, Captain IBRAHIM Traoré proved he did not come for money, and he refused the $76,000 salary he could get as the president. This salary might seem comparatively small, but the average income in Burkina Faso is $73 per month, so $76,000 is a lot. However, IBRAHIM Traoré said he would just accept his basic salary as a captain, which is only $583 per month. But why would he do that? In this video, let's know about IBRAHIM Traoré setting precedents and transforming Burkina Faso, something nobody is talking about. Let's get started. It is almost unheard of for a president to voluntarily reject a hefty salary and choose to earn the same pay as a low-ranking officer. But this is exactly what IBRAHIM Traoré, Burkina Faso's revolutionary leader, has done. Instead of accepting a $76,000 annual presidential salary, he has kept his modest captain's pay, proving that he never took power for wealth or personal gain. In a continent where politicians exploit their positions for financial enrichment, Traoré's decision stands as a bold statement. Unlike African leaders who increase their salaries, live in palaces, and secure their family's wealth for generations, Traoré has done the opposite. He cut the salaries of ministers and high-ranking government officials, forcing them to share in the struggles of the people they claim to serve. But what's even more remarkable is where that saved money is going. Not into secret bank accounts in Switzerland, not into luxury villas in France, but into building schools, mechanizing agriculture, constructing textile factories, processing local tomatoes, refining gold, and creating jobs. This is the mark of a leader who came to serve, not to rule. Burkina Faso has seen many leaders before, but none quite like IBRAHIM Traoré. Many African presidents, once in power, distance themselves from the very people they once promised to help. They surround themselves with luxury, security convoys, and expensive suits, only appearing on television a few times a year to read scripted speeches. But Traoré is different. He walks among his people, listens to them directly, and even apologizes when things go wrong. Think about that. When was the last time you saw an African president personally apologizing to citizens? Most leaders act as if they are kings, ruling from above, untouchable and unquestionable. Yet, here is Traoré, standing in the streets, engaging with the people face to face, not as their ruler, but as one of them. His popularity is not just limited to Burkina Faso. Across Africa, people are calling for him to be their president for just 1 month. That alone speaks volumes. While democratically elected leaders continue to fail their people, this young captain, who seized power through a coup, is proving to be a leader of the people, by the people, and for the people. He is representing what democracy really is, where he is doing exactly what people want and taking actions that benefit them. That's quite the opposite of what the so-called democratic leaders do. They are elected, with Western support, with the election process mostly full of doubts. And once they are elected, they start serving the Western nations and Western corporations. For decades, Africa has been told what to do, how to govern, and how to develop, but the blueprint has never been designed for African prosperity. It has always been a system that benefits the West at Africa's expense. Whether it is democracy, economics, or security, Western powers have imposed their models and used them to maintain control. They tell Africa that its governments must follow the Western version of democracy, even when that system repeatedly fails to meet the needs of our people. They dictate that African economies must be open to foreign corporations, meaning Africa's wealth is extracted while its people remain poor. And perhaps worst of all, they insist that African security must rely on their military presence, ensuring that Africa is forever dependent, never truly in control of its own destiny. Burkina Faso, like many African nations, was trapped in this cycle for years. The country had French military forces on its soil under the guise of anti-insurgency operations, yet terrorist attacks only increased. The West claimed to be offering economic aid, but Burkina Faso's industries remained underdeveloped, with raw materials leaving the country while finished products returned at high costs. Western experts dictated policies, but the Burkinabe people saw no real improvements in their lives. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black Africa. Let's continue now. IBRAHIM Traoré, however, is breaking this cycle. Unlike many African leaders who continue to follow Western dictation, he is proving that real leadership does not require Western approval. His governance is not dictated by Paris, Washington, or Brussels. It is guided by the needs of the Burkinabe people. The moment Burkina Faso expelled French troops, critics in the West predicted chaos. Questions about how will Burkina Faso defend itself and fight the insurgents, warning that Burkina Faso will fall apart. This has been a classic new colonial strategy. Earlier, they used to divide and conquer, but now they threaten and conquer. In other words, threats and problems are first created in Africa, and to solve them, the West comes as a savior. However, IBRAHIM Traoré knows this trap. Instead of falling into it, he refused the Western help. And what happened next? Well, insurgent groups started losing ground. This raises an uncomfortable question. If France had been fighting insurgents for years, why did security improve only after they left? For years, France and its Western allies claimed they couldn't locate insurgents, despite having satellites, drones, and intelligence networks operating in Burkina Faso. But the moment Traoré took control, restructured the military, and ignited national patriotism, his forces suddenly knew exactly where to strike. Furthermore, Traoré's leadership exposed the painful truth that Burkina Faso was never being assisted. It was being controlled. The West had built a system that ensured Burkina Faso remained dependent, never strong enough to protect itself, and never independent enough to defy foreign interests. This is a pattern seen across Africa. Western countries station troops and claim to provide security, but somehow insurgency and violence never end. They provide economic aid, but somehow African economies never rise. They push for democracy, but somehow the people's needs are never truly met. Traoré is one of the few African leaders courageous enough to see that all the help and assistance is superficial, and the Western nations have always cared for their benefits and profits. And now, he has said, enough. With foreign troops gone, Traoré wasted no time in fixing the failures left behind. He modernized Burkina Faso's military strategy, ensuring that the country no longer waited for permission to defend itself. Before, when a violent attack occurred, Burkinabe forces would take weeks, sometimes even months, to respond. Under Traoré's new doctrine, his military strikes back within 24 hours. This is real security. Not endless waiting, not negotiations dictated by foreign diplomats, immediate action, led by Burkinabe forces, on Burkinabe soil, for the Burkinabe people. And it's working. IBRAHIM Traoré has shown that African problems, even though created by the West, are there to be solved by Africans. However, if African leaders relied on Western nations which are benefiting from those problems, it would be the most illogical decision. IBRAHIM Traoré knows the continent sits on some of the richest natural resources in the world, yet poverty continues to be widespread. Burkina Faso, like many other African nations, is home to vast gold reserves, yet it remains dependent on Western currencies to trade its wealth. Africa's land is some of the most fertile on Earth, yet food imports from Europe continue to flood the market, undermining local farmers. Western military bases are stationed across the continent, claiming to provide security, yet insurgency and instability have only worsened. Beyond the military, Traoré is bringing real accountability to governance. He refuses to let bureaucrats sit in offices and pretend they understand the struggles of the people. When Burkina Faso's Supreme Court judges falsely claimed there was no war in the north, Traoré sent them directly to the battlefield to see for themselves. That is the kind of leadership Africa needs, one that does not tolerate deception, one that forces leaders to face reality. Traoré is proving that Africa does not need Western oversight, but needs African solutions. Under his leadership, Burkina Faso is fighting its own battles, building its own economy, and prioritizing its own development on its own terms. The real question now is whether other African nations will follow suit and reject the chains of Western dependency. What is happening in Burkina Faso is not just about one man or one country. It is about the future of Africa. For far too long, Africans have been told to wait, that its time is coming. But Traoré has made one thing clear: Africa's time is not coming. It is already here, and African nations should tune into it instead of waiting to get a green light from the Western nations. What do you think? Should other African presidents learn from Ibrahim Traoré? Isn't it true that if the West hates an African president, it means that he is working for his own people and not serving the interests of Western corporations? In the comments section right below, share your thoughts on whether Ibrahim Traoré will succeed in making his country a model state for Africa, so every other African leader can walk in his footsteps. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We bring videos on Black Africa, its history, rich arts and culture, and things the world should know about. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.